Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second webinar of today, Managing Partners Digitally. Thank you for joining this session. In the next 60 minutes, we will discuss how to set up and maintain business relationships virtually during the pandemic and beyond. And we might even agree on that, as of today, London, Brussels, Madrid, or Santiago de Chile and Sydney are somehow all equidistant. Next slide, please. Before we start an introduction on the topic and the speakers, I would like to remind you that this webinar will be recorded and the video will be shared after the event. We really appreciate your participation and want to invite you to send us your questions. For questions we cannot answer today, we are happy to collect them and come back to you later on. Please also remember to mute your microphone and switch off your webcam. Please let me also show you some important data about the Go Global Days and SGE. Next slide, please. My name is Mark Untersander and I'm the head of the TradePoint in Chile. This webinar forms part of the Regional Americas Day of the SG Go Global Days. Do not hesitate to stay logged in to the event platform and benefit as much as possible from the full range of information and networking opportunities we offer to boost your international business. Besides this webinar, you can book individual speed consulting sessions with our experts. There are breakout sessions on our Go Global cockpit and tools for exporting clean tech. Or just use the platform for digital networking with SG consultants, partners, and other participants. Next slide, please. So who is behind these Go Global Days? Switzerland Global Enterprise is the official Swiss organization for export and investment promotion with around 200 employees at offices through Switzerland and in 31 countries. As a non-profit organization, we provide a public service for our clients on behalf of the Swiss Confederation and the cantons. Next slide, please. We operate our 27 offices, known as Swiss Business Hubs and Trade Points, in 31 countries jointly with the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs, FDFA. Thanks to our global network of partners, we support our clients in many other countries. Next slide, please. From finding the target market, which fits best to your product and services portfolio, to expanding your business activities further after having arrived in a foreign market. We support Swiss SMEs in their international business. We also help innovative foreign companies to establish in Switzerland. In doing so, we rely on a unique network of national and global partners. This is how we create added value for our clients and prosperity in Switzerland. Next slide, please. So how does this work? For Chile, for example, your consultant here in Switzerland is Fabio Speciale. The team of the TradePoint, which is based at the Embassy of Switzerland in Chile, consists of my colleague Vanessa Motole and myself. We are all very delighted to support you in your internationalization and contribute to your business success. Next slide, please. And this is what this webinar is all about. I guess that all of you would agree that digital transformation didn't start in 2020, but that this year will be remembered as key in this process. There is no doubt that the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted us and our business in many ways. To give you a concrete example, in Chile, networking and good personal contacts are essential for doing business. But quarantine and travel bans made it difficult to even impossible to still meet partners and clients in person. Business meetings, events, seminars, and trade fairs are cancelled, postponed, or moved into virtual space. But especially during these difficult periods, or just to present your products or services for the very first time, being close to stakeholders is of utmost importance. Consequently, companies best fitted or best adapted to this new environment are most likely to flourish. Being able to fruitfully manage partners digitally appears to be one key element for adaptation and success. In this webinar, we will discuss current challenges and opportunities around the topic. You will learn how client relationships can be maintained digitally and how you can create digital trust, which is one of the main challenges. We will address this subject from an academic and company point of view and tell you how we at SG tackle this issue and can support you now and in the future. We kindly invite you to participate actively and would love to get your questions for the Q&A session through our chat. Next slide, please. It is now my great pleasure to present you our three speakers of this webinar. Our first guest is Dr. Professor Dietmar Treichel, who is one of the directors from the Institute of Communication and Leadership, IKF, in Lucerne. He had the MAS and MBA in Transcultural Communication, the MBA Leadership and Management, and also works as a director of the Global Leadership Institute. Dietmar studied communication, social sciences and psychology in Germany, England and the USA. He holds an MBA from Henley and a doctorate from Heidelberg. Since 1986, he works as a university lecturer in Germany, Austria and Switzerland, as well as an internationally active entrepreneur, consultant and trainer. His main interests are international leadership and management, transcultural communication, as well as team and organizational development. Dietmar will share some insights on digital tools and how we can create digital trust. Then we will continue with our second speaker, Dirk Reuter, who is Director International Sales at Sigvaris for Europe Central, North and East. He is co-president of the Foreign Trade Specialist Group at Swiss MedTech, counts on 17 years experience in the field of medical devices, working 15 years for the Hartmann Group internationally and in Switzerland. Dirk is passionate about efficient and hands-on sales and marketing approaches. He made some very interesting experiences in the last months in his function for Sigvaris, which he will share with us. Sigvaris is a family-owned Swiss business with sales in more than 60 countries worldwide. Producing in Switzerland, the company is market leader in the field of medical compression. Our third speaker will be Dr. Julia Vogel, Head of Digital Product Management SGE. Julia has a PhD in computer science, computer vision and machine learning, and has worked for more than 10 years in product management and business development of B2B software, including in the export sector. Since nearly 2 years, she is at Switzerland Global Enterprise with the task to develop digital services for our customers. Her passion and enthusiasm is to solve problems, preferably digitally. She will tell us how SGE is working on tools that truly support our partners on their way to export. To me, this sounds very promising for our webinar. Many thanks again to all these speakers for participating in this event. With this, I would like to pass the ball to our first speaker. Dietmar, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm looking forward to about 10 minutes of concentrating, I'm afraid, on the research results. I'm not really a research guy, but I think we can learn a lot from what people in research have found out about international partnership and digitalization. As you can see, what I'm like to concentrate on is success drivers of international digital business partnership. If we come to the next slide, please. There we have 4 main drivers in international partnership. The top driver is that the partners are clear about the benefits and the mutual common strategies of reaching those benefits. The benefits could be better processes, more efficient processes, lower costs, or perhaps products that are so far not available in the market, or maybe better customer management. This goes together with the aspect of effort. Now, most companies are very enthusiastic at the beginning of a partnership, but then they find out that the effort is more, the work is more, the hassle is more than expected. So one of the success drivers is to reduce the effort, or at least to learn to live with high effort so that you can reach the benefits that you aim for. This is only possible when there's trust among the participants, among the partners. When there's no trust, then we find out that digital partnerships either break up very quickly, or maybe sometimes not quickly enough. And very often the investment of time, money, people, and so on, ideas, is not there, because if I don't trust that the partnership will hold out for a long-term future, or if I don't trust my partners that they will actually do what they have promised to do, then why should I invest? And the fourth aspect is risk. Now, this is an interesting topic, because the more complex a project or a partnership is, the more important it has been found to have good risk management. And this means not to react to risk, but to proact. That means that you have to go in and foresee where could be risky elements. And very often risky elements are not in the hard facts, like processes or products, but the most important risks are very often in intercultural misunderstanding and different management styles and management methods. Now, this is common knowledge now. It's a little surprising that not all the companies are actually doing it, especially investing in building trust and proacting to risk. But in the last years, another element has come in, and this is the digital technologies or digitalization. So let's go to the next slide, please. And there we have some things, some competences or different ways of acting that are absolutely necessary to work in this new digital world. The first thing is that the partners, both partners, all partners, have to have an adequate know-how in working with digital processes. And they have to build this know-how by using collaboration tools like Microsoft Teams. Could be a collaboration tool. Zoom could be a collaboration tool, but there are also collaboration tools that are more creative, like Miro or Miro and things like that. The next thing is that the business strategies must be overlapping, and especially when it comes to digital strategies. How can we use digital products or digital processes in a strategic way? And what was found is that this is very much helped if there's a central support platform, so that the partners are not on their own in this. But you can't expect that everything will go as expected, as we have found in the last few months. So leadership is becoming even more important than management, and especially agile leadership. That means a business leadership that is able to react very quickly to new demands and is able to take new opportunities very quickly. And of course, the organization of the partnership and of the partners must be agile as well. All this goes together with an intercultural business mindset. That means we can't take our Swiss or German or wherever I come from, our mindset from that culture, and expect that all the others will follow my kind of thinking, my kind of planning, and so on. And so the competence is to work with others and build something that is not one or two, but is a third space. And this is where intercultural mindset and competence comes in. So to develop benefits, efforts, reduce effort, increase trust, and reduce risks. In this new world, we need completely new strategies and competencies. These things, if we come to the next slide, please. I'm almost there. We see that these things are related and act on each other. If you have high benefit, if we go to the left side, we have a high benefit but low trust. This will reduce my ability or my willingness to invest in the partnership. And then on the other side, if the effort is higher than normal and the risk is also higher than normal, then the benefits expected and often reached are below normal. And as we find in unprepared or not so well prepared intercultural partnerships, that very often they fail. They don't fail because of products, they don't fail because of technology, they fail because the people and the way the people work together. And are they, if it's worth their time to invest midterm, so within the next few years, and if they can expect a sustained profit from the relationship of these four factors. Now, if we come to the next slide, the final slide, as you can see here, there are many aspects that I haven't touched that should be considered when you want to have a professional digital strategy in your partnership, when you want to build the required skills, and when you want to use the optimum tools. I will not go into this for reasons of time, but if you are interested to talk about how to activate these success drivers in a more detailed way, then just get in touch and I'll be very, very happy to talk to you about this. So thanks very much for listening to me. If you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them, or at least try to answer them. And otherwise, thanks very much and have a very good week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dietmar, for this very interesting speech. I would have a very first short question. You know, besides sending all the international sales manager to your courses at IKF, what would you recommend companies to do these days to join the group of the fittest, meaning that they will be able to create trust with their customers in faraway markets? So how could they create this trust?
Well, there's several things. I think the first is we don't create trust by talking about it. We create trust by doing something together and learning together. The second is that we have to, and this is called maybe low-hanging fruits or quick wins, we have to try to have results as quickly as possible. As we find in psychology, we learn very much either by avoiding things or by being successful. And what we have to do is try to start with activities that are worthwhile to all the partners, and then have successes very, very quickly and build on those successes And when we have that, then we can build a relationship. I think it's not talk, it's doing. And then later we can reflect and talk about it and do again. But it all starts with doing something together.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So we will come back to you, Dietmar, at the Q&A session. Now we will go on to our second speaker, Dirk Reuter. Dirk, I kindly ask you to start with your presentation.
Yes, sure. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening also from my side. Also a big thank you to SGE for inviting me. Also a big thank you to Dietmar. I thought it would be quite theoretical because I thought, okay, the professor will do something theoretic, but I really liked it a lot because it was quite pragmatic and also showing some things I can really subscribe, like the importance of leadership, of intercultural teamwork and agility in an organization, building up trust and decreasing the risk. So it's also a nice frame or a good starting point for me, because I would like to take you on a short journey of what happened within Sigvaris during the last months. And yeah, therefore, I just would like to give you a short overview. I mean, Sigvaris, we're a company who's in the medical business, and we're producing medical compression stockings, as you might see also here behind me. So these are some of our products. And you would ask, okay, what does a producer of socks have to do or have to tell about the topic of digitalization? And actually, half a year ago, I would not have too much content to tell you, because at that time, before Corona, before the crisis, I was maybe coping with digital topics like 5% of my time a day. Because in order to just give you a little bit where we are or where our business is happening, for us, of course, the focus is patients, is sportsmen, people who want to help have healthy legs. And most of all, it's our business partners, which are distributors all over the world in 70 countries, and the prescribers, the doctors, who are really one of the most important entry points for us in the market. And 1 year ago, or also still in February and January, for us, of course, the physical contact with our partners, and especially with the doctors, was kind of was normal and was what we did in order to do our sales and keep in contact with our partners. And then, of course, with the lockdown all over the world, we were really in a kind of shock, because we are really an international company. We are Swiss-based and have a Swiss footprint, but we're exporting to such a lot of countries. And from one day to the other, we could not visit any congresses. We could not have direct talks and negotiations with our partners in Japan, South Korea, China, or wherever. So we really had to rethink quite fastly, and not change the things that we're doing, but change the way of the things that we're doing. And this is actually what I want to talk about with you. So actually what was happening was that we really sat together and took some time, because for us it was like, okay, we have like all lost our job now at the moment. Yeah, we have salespeople who are used to traveling 60-70% of their time, and we also weren't too digital. So we really had to sit together and see where we have competencies. And this is also where, let's say, the intercultural teamwork or the agility that Dietmar mentioned came in. Me too, I'm not really, let's say, a digital dummy, but it's not my main competence. But what we easily found out that was that our colleagues in China or in Middle East, they are much more advanced than we. I mean, the Chinese, they're doing everything via WeChat. The people in Middle East, they are doing all on their social medias that they're using. And also on the social media of Middle East Sigvaris, they are so advanced, they have much more followers than the whole group worldwide. And so what, let's say, the leadership objective was getting these people together and profit from their knowledge. And we kind of defined our digital heroes, which was the first step. And then we sat together with these people and just said, okay, what are the ways how we can cope with the situation? And we started first with our distributors, doing the training and education topics, discussing strategic topics with them, which was also kind of convenient because now we had time to discuss these things. The second thing was that we then also thought about the customer voyage, the customer journey in general, and also about the doctors. And what we found out there was something like a revelation for us, because in the past, we had to go to congresses and really support them on a regular basis and be there physically. And you cannot imagine how many vascular phlebological societies there are all around the world. Huh? So you can really spend millions for this kind of congresses, and it's quite important as well to support these societies. But yeah, they were stopped from one day to the other. So we started to make a concept and came up with the Medical Online Hub. Its abbreviation is MOH, like the Ministry of Health, and started to make a kind of platform. And we were really among the first worldwide to establish a platform for phlebology, for lymphatic and chronic venous disease topics with the doctors, with our key opinion leaders that we have, and started to make events. And a few months ago, these kind of events would have had 30 or 40 participants. And interestingly, with the lockdown, we reached more than 1,000, 2,000 people per event, and also post-event, much more people, which was extremely interesting and valuable for us. And we kind of also created even a kind of, how to say, we draw the people into this world, and now the MOH has become for us really a new platform of developing the business, and it's the societies and the doctors that go proactively to us and want to make events with us. So for me, that was really one of the most interesting times in my business life, because on the one hand, the agility was very, very high, and on the second hand, we're doing concepts and getting in much more closer contact with our partners in a very short time, because also what Dietmar managed, building up trust when you are making these kind of online webinars, congresses. You're sitting in the living room with the doctors, their daughters run through the picture as well as my daughters do. You get to know each other and you really get much closer, although you are physically far away from each other. And yeah, we're going on this travel. Actually, we will have a lot of more events. On Saturday, we will have a Russian-speaking one. We'll also participate and looking really forward to it. We are having regional editions. We have global editions. And this also helped us to work much more closer together, because in the past you had national congresses or European congresses. Now, whatever you do, even if you do it with a focus on Indonesia, Japan, and South Korea, it's an international one. And also the doctors in Mexico or somewhere else are interested. So this also helped really to integrate and foster more cooperation within the Sigvaris group, which is also extremely nice. It was a enhancer or facilitator for a better teamwork and also for a better international culture. And if I would have to summarize what are the learnings out of it, because actually we learned by doing the things. Yeah. For me, the one thing was, you have to define a kind of digital policy before. And this starts with the little things like saying, okay, from now on, we just make video calls. We always have the camera switched on. We have a certain dress code. We don't sit there in pyjama. And this also facilitates already that the people use these tools quite fastly and adapt to it. Then also to be really open for a change and to define some key values. Because when you start with this thing and you want to do everything according to the SOPs that you already have, you will have big troubles in implementing things. Because if you want to align everything like you would do in a physical world, this does not function. Because the internet, the digital platforms, they are much too fast. So you have to define some values and things, like not to make wrong medical statements in whatever kind of platform. Then you know where you are. And then you can also have room to disrupt. And for me, one of the most important things was to define some digital heroes, people that are good in doing what they are doing, that know the tools. Yeah, I'm already too old to be a digital hero, but I have a lot of people in my team who do it in a very nice way. And yeah, we also gave them, we enabled them, we empowered them. And for us also, it was important to stop hierarchical thinking and to be interdisciplinary. And also it's quite interesting when we look now at these teams. We would have done it in completely different setting up front. And now we have people from Asia, from Middle East, from Switzerland, and from Canada sitting in there. Age groups are totally different. One are from medical market, marketing, others are salespeople, other IT people. So this makes it much more interesting. And I think for me, it was one of the most important or interesting times because I learned a lot from these people. And also one learning is that it's extremely good if you have a good external partner for marketing topics or for the facilitating of these kind of events, be it via Zoom, WebEx, or Virbella, or what else, because they can really help you to start at a good level. And I just suggest that you find somebody who knows the sector that you're working in, because, for example, for us, you know, doctors can really be divas. So you also need to have a partner who's a facilitator who knows how doctors are working. Yeah, and a short outlook. I think I have 1 more minute, or how's the time? I'm looking at Mark.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So what is the outlook? So for us, we really see the future in these kind of digital platforms like the medical online hub. And we are now really having room for this, for developing this strategically. We gather interdisciplinary teams, and also we try out things. So this means we're not just sticking with teams and say this is our solutions. We also try out meeting with customers, meeting with doctors in virtual worlds with avatars, where like Virbella, where you can really have a much more, let's say, creative way of working together. And also to find out what is the, let's say, the best benefit from these tools. So I think this is also something which should be considered to be really open, to have room for disruption, and also allow for mistakes within a clear frame. So yeah, that's from my side. I would give the word to Mark again. And looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you very much, Dirk. That was very interesting as well. And, you know, learning that you were able to do such a quick start into this new era of your company in such a short time sounds really promising to me. Sounds like, yes, we can, you know. So really congrats for this success. Maybe you can also tell us about your biggest learning, or the most important lesson learned you experienced in the last few months. Is there something you can share?
Yes, sure. I mean, there's different learnings. For me, one of the most important learnings is to, it needs some time, especially in a bigger organization, to really make the people understand the benefit of the things, because you also have to try out things. And there might be, of course, some reluctance at the very beginning. But I think it's important just to really to empower people, and to really also take this as the leadership topic. Digitalization is not an IT topic. It's not a sales topic, a mere sales topic. It's a leadership topic. And you have to have really room for strategy, for discussions, for trying things out, and for really doing something differently. And also, I mean, for us, it was also, we're a company with 150 years of tradition. But for us, it's also clear communication in the digital field works totally differently. In the digital field, we can name a event series MOH, like Ministry of Health. We would not have done this with a physical congress, for example. Yeah, so we are having like a new kind of brand experience, and also a different way how the target group approaches us. And there are some people, of course, that will not buy in such a thing. Yeah, so it's important that you really also get a majority of people who understand that this is a necessary step to really implement it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
Good, very good point. Now we will come to our last, but not least, speaker, Julia Vogel, who is a digital leader at SG. Julia, please.
Thank you, Mark. And thank you also, Dietmar and Dirk, for your very interesting introductions into the topic. It was very exciting hearing that. I want to present talk about a little different perspective on that. First thing is we are as Switzerland Global Enterprise in the B2B market, and this will give a different flavor to the topic. The other thing is I'm actually in the doing in my department. My team is having the task to develop digital tools and services for you, our customers. So I want to give you a glimpse in how do we do that. And that is actually then making a loop back to Dietmar, because what is really bugging us a lot is how we can build trust, how we can reduce effort and risk, and how we can develop benefits for you. So that is all topic terms that are in our conversations a lot. So let me go back in time a bit. SGE is working on the digital tools since about 2 years, with the sessions, innovation sessions about even before that. So the first thing is maybe why, as a export supporter, are we actually going into digital, or have been going into digital even before COVID? This is actually because you ask for it. Indirectly, there are always customers of ours that asked for 24/7, that wanted to be faster, that didn't want to look at time zones, self-service, low entry, and these keywords. The next question is, how did we go about? And here, this is also really relevant. We are going very customer-centric. So this is now a big buzzword these days. So let me give you an idea. What does that mean? We are trying, we are really doing it. We are asking you. We are asking our customers, we are asking, we're doing customer research and customer interviews, a lot of them. And if any of you listening to me now is ever interested in giving me or my team your thoughts on what we are doing, please just come. So we asked around and asked, what do you need? What do you want to do? Independent of digital or not, what is really bugging you? And the goal was to develop personalized platform for all topics of export. That is, again, a big goal, but the important word here is personalized, because that, again, is a buzzword, but how did we succeed in doing that? Because the result is live now. We have the Go Global Cockpit, of which you saw a glimpse by going into the Go Global Days, but there's more that it's live since April. And we asked you what you needed most as an entry into export topics, and there were two things. There was market information. Which market should I export to first or next? Either where you are in your internationalization journey. And the other question is how. This is especially relevant for new novices in export, because it's actually, for those of you who remember the early times when you did your first package, try to get it out of Switzerland, this can be hard to do it correct and not and have it without losing time. So we developed in this Go Global Cockpit two streams where we actually, during onboarding, ask you questions. And the one question is, give me your HS code. HS code is the code that describes your products if you're a goods exporter. And when we have your HS code, we are in the cockpit personalizing all information, all market data, all import and export streams to that product. And in the other question is, where do you want to go? Because depending if you're going to Europe or to Asia, the export rules, the how to export is changing. All these tools, and these are now really self-service tools, have been developed in strong cooperation. So we did really, like Lean Startup is telling us, we did prototypes. We asked you, first it was a paper, then you could click a button, and the next version was then implemented and tested out. So this is the customer-centric part that we are doing. And it resulted in a highly personalized service, because this, I think, is important to build trust. Now, coming back to the terms of Dietmar, in order to build trust, we need to be personal. Because otherwise you feel like a number somewhere on Google. If you want to believe that we are delivering services to you, even without a person talking to you, you want to be felt as if somebody's understanding your problem still. And this is, we are trying to do that through the personalization. So if I wanted to mention another thing, and this is, so this was the story even before COVID, and we went live during COVID at a moment where nobody was sure if we really needed that, but we still do, so we have visitors. The other thing that is coming up since COVID is connection tools. Similar to what Dirk said, you have customers out there in the world. Our hub consultants have partners in their countries that are interested in talking to our Swiss SMEs. So we want to support and to facilitate that by providing the digital tools that you might not be able to set up yourself. This is the topic that is keeping us busy right now very much. We are looking into a more virtual way of doing trade fairs, of how you can present products in trade fairs that are going digital, in supporting services and explain you what you could do, but also to have use our platform to give you access to these other tools so that you know where to go to find a solution. So let me conclude with a little bit of final recommendation or learning. I think really important to build trust, it is to listen to the customers and not only to assume. There are very many assumptions around, but these are usually from the non-digital world that might not transfer to the digital. So it makes sense to talk to customers. The other thing is find patterns. Even if we want to be personal, we cannot build a single solution for each of you or each of your end customers. We need to find a pattern to be able to automate. And then everybody's talking about agile and fast, but still allocate sufficient time. Lean startups and MVP does not mean that you do it in 2 weeks. It's just being developed in cycles of 2 weeks. So don't stress, don't get stressed too much. I think that's what I want to conclude with. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you very much, Julia. And this just leads me to my question. For us in the market, of course, we would like to support and serve to our companies as much and as quickly as possible. So we see that you are really doing a good job in developing these different solutions for our clients. Do you think that, even though we shouldn't stress, do you think that there would be already, besides the Go Global Cockpit, some services on the tool side, but also on the marketing side we can offer to our partners in the next months? Or will it just be very difficult, within 2020 to have something set up?
This is one of the the time thing, right? No, I think I know what you're looking for, and yes, we will be able to provide something still this year. We are currently connecting tools into the Go Global, set up the SGE login, where you can then access fairs or business trips or mini product presentations through SGE to the end country, which could be in any of the countries that our consultants are active in.
Okay, thank you very much, Julia, for this very interesting presentation as well. Let's move to the Q&A session. There is one question which I think points out a very important aspect. It says that how to deal with the cultural aspect digitally. In Europe and the United States, people are used to make business digitally. In other areas, like maybe South America, the physical aspect is key, especially for the first meeting and the first impression. And you just mentioned, all of you basically, how important it is to build up trust. So maybe to Dirk, what was your experience? How did you build trust in a webinar with 1,000 participants?
Yeah, I think that's also what Dietmar mentioned. I mean, you do not talk about trust, but you're doing something, yeah, and you're doing something which is giving a benefit, and you also you give a word and you do accordingly. And I mean, for us also, it was when we started with the MOHs, I would say we delivered a good quality in terms of the scientific discussions that we're running there. And as to, let's say, the normal relationship that we have with our distributors and business partners, we try to do the same things that we would do in a physical meeting. Of course, you cannot go out and drink tea for 1 hour in Asia, which might be very well or very good to build up trust. But I think in these cases, sometimes it just needs more time. It needs more time, and you have to show that you're a reliable business partner, that you schedule more meetings, that you introduce also more people out of your team, because this is also something which is a benefit. Because if you're just traveling as an area sales manager somewhere, in the past they normally just see your face. Yeah, you're the face of Sigvaris, and you're somewhere in South Korea, Vietnam, or wherever. But if you're going on the digital platforms, it's the whole teams that meet each other. So there's also, let's say, more layers, yeah, where you can start building up a relationship. And maybe it takes a little bit more time, but I think it can be quite sustainable and good because you can bring in more people as well. And of course, I think the cultures are very, very different, and especially Japan is quite difficult when it comes to negotiation or things like that. Yeah, to adapt these kind of technologies, there are some limitations. But what we have also seen is in the events that we're doing, and also in working with the distributors, we're covering the whole world with this concept of working via social media at the moment. And there's nobody who's really reluctant, because people want to socialize, want to communicate. That's the one thing. And we're also seeing a very high participation from all over the world, be it India or Mexico, Brazil, wherever. So we cannot really say that there is some people who do not like these kind of things or events. For us, I would rather say, when I just look at the events, it's rather the European countries that are not participating so actively. South America, for example, is extremely active. It's extremely active.
Okay, perfect, Dirk. One more question to Dietmar. You mentioned that it's very important to not only have a good working tool, but also kind of let's say ecosystem in your organization to successfully manage this digital transformation. I guess to inspire our customers work on trust as we. How can we create such an awareness and creativity with our clients which are far away, and not with the team just next door?
I think, well, there's several answers, but maybe I'll concentrate on one, which is or two. One is the human aspect. I think what I work with a lot of people that are on the other side of the world, not in my time zone, not in my culture, and we never meet. We have never met, but the whole thing depends on building a good not trustful, a good deep relationship. And what I find is it's more important to listen than to speak very often. And very often in school, we learn to speak and write, but nobody has really taught us to listen. And in many cultures, listening is the secret skill, the secret driver of success. So, and listening, what does this mean? Usually, when we say I listen to you, I say it's a kind of downloading process. I pick up what I think I can use, like surfing on Google or wherever. I pick up and copy what I can use. The second kind of listening is I listen to, and while I'm listening, I'm also forming my answer. And so I'm not really listening. I'm just hearing what I should answer to or discuss with. I think in intercultural partnerships, it's extremely important to cultivate two other types of listening. And one is, what does this person say about him or herself? What does he or she say about her or his business ideas, her interests? Because this is very often not said on the surface, it's said between the lines. So this kind of listening says, well, what kind of person is sitting there talking to me, and not what he or she saying. And the fourth kind is, let's listen for the future. Let's not listen for problems. Don't just listen to solutions, but listen to opportunities. What in strategic management is called value gaps. What are value gaps? What are offers that I can make that would be extremely valuable to the other person, which he or she hasn't even thought about, and where they could have a great benefit. And now so this is the personal answer to your question. The other answer is, we have to learn to use digital tools, online tools, virtual kind of conversations, to be able to develop competencies that don't go against our old personal competencies, but that complement them. We need new competencies, building relationships online without meeting people, but still meeting people in a very, very personal way. This is something we have to learn. This is, of course, what I'm interested, because this is what our business is, teaching people or helping people to pick this up and develop this skill. But we have to have this attitude that we can do things in a new way, which is not worse, but which is new and maybe opens up new opportunities, new business opportunities for this. I'm a researcher, but I'm also an entrepreneur. And that's why I think looking to opportunities is much more important than looking to problems.
Indeed. Thank you very much. So there are two questions for Dirk, and I ask you to answer them in a kind of a short way, because we are already 6 minutes to the end. The thing is, or the question is, how did you attract interest, traffic, and attendance to your webinars? One thing is to offer the webinar and to have 1,000 people inside, but the other thing is to attract them, that they would enter this room. And the other question would be, what about your export data since Corona? Did they even grow, or did you suffer as many other companies?
So maybe the first question. For us, it was important, of course, to create the traffic on the one hand side via normal marketing on social media, but most importantly was to really see, okay, how can we multiplicate in the countries? So we were looking at different countries, and then we were looking on, okay, who are the people who are having good networks and that can help us to attract the medical societies and the people to these kind of events. And they were using all kind of social media like LinkedIn, but also our salespeople in the subsidiaries were much more active on WhatsApp with their customers because they could not visit them. And this way we were attracting people, and then it was also getting more multiplicators by doing internal marketing and saying, wow, hey, now we have like already 200 participants from Mexico, which is amazing for that country. Why do we not have more than 50 in Indonesia now? And then also, let's say, to market that internally with our networks. And I think that worked out quite well. And as to the second question, of course, I mean, there were countries in the export business where we could not even ship one single parcel for 2 or 3 months, like Ukraine or Russia. So this, of course, can be seen in the sales figures. But all in all, it really helped us to have these events, and we could really see that they had a really positive effect on the sales, and especially where we have our focus on, which is in Asia Pacific for growth. We are really content with the development, although, let's say, it's a really challenging situation for our distributors, for our partners on site. But yeah, we're quite positive, and yeah, it's much better than expected.
Okay, thank you. So I will already start to sum up because there's not a lot of time left. First of all, thank you very much to you, Julia, to Dirk, and to Dietmar for these very interesting presentations. And I think we learned some very good tips how to manage our international business in these difficult times. That we will have to focus on trust, on getting to know our customers, even though we cannot meet them really, on listening to them. We need to see this digital and virtual forms of communication as an opportunity and as a leadership topic in our companies. This is a very important priority for all of us to be able to grow in the next months. I will just quickly go through some more slides. The first one will be about your contacts here in Switzerland. If you want to get in contact with SG and if you need help, we have a team in Zurich, in Lausanne, and in Lugano. And then the next slide, please, will be the very last one about the rest of the program of today. We will have further sessions and webinars, but also there's always the possibility to do a one-to-one individual consulting sessions. So thank you very, very much to all of you for participating in this, from my point of view, extremely interesting webinar about how to manage partners digitally. And we really hope that we will see each other soon, face-to-face or over the webcam and our computer. Thank you very much to all of you, and have a nice afternoon. Bye-bye.